Hello and good morning. Let's take a look at today's bell work here. Okay, I want you to draw these four things here. And by the way, this is on the back side because today's Thursday. So 11, 4, and this is week 4, quarter 2. Remember, don't turn in bell work. I'm having a few people turning in bell work still. I don't want it till the end. Take a look here. Draw a triangle. A perpendicular bisector means you've got to cut this equal pieces and then go 90 degrees. That would be a perpendicular bisector. So if this is 5, this would be 5. This one right here, an angle bisector, means you split the angles in half. So that would be an angle bisector. And then finally C, a median, which we learned yesterday. A median, you find the midpoint. And then you connect the vertices. That's a median. Okay. And then finally, the last one is an altitude. So D, an altitude is straight down. And that's an altitude. Okay? It's not a bisector. So this could be like 3 and this could be 7. It's not a perpendicular bisector. It could be if it's an isosceles triangle. Well, let's keep moving. It says draw or write the results of A and B. Well, A is a perpendicular bisector, and wherever those meet, the distance to the endpoints are equal. So this distance here is equal to this one, is equal to this one. All three of those are the same. So if this one is 10, then this one would be 10, and that one would be 10. And then finally, the next one here, the angle bisector, where those meet, is called the incenter, and the distance to the sides are equal. So this distance is a radius, that distance is a radius, and that distance is a radius. And if that is 5, they're all 5. Inscribed circle. Now yesterday I taught you a centroid. A centroid, so put away your bell work. Let's talk about a couple of more properties of the centroid, okay? So on a new sheet of paper, I want you to draw this triangle here. And I want you to draw the medians. Okay, the medians are your midpoints. So find the midpoint, find the midpoint, find the midpoint, and then connect them to the vertices. Now, one thing I didn't tell you is this short piece, and then you got a long piece. So you have two pieces here. You have a short piece and a long piece. What I didn't tell you is the short piece is 1/3 of the whole thing. And the long piece is 2/3 of the whole thing. So in other words, if they tell you that the long piece is 10, then this one would be 5. It's half as big. Okay? And the whole thing would be 15. So the whole thing would be 15. If you take 1/3 of 15, you get 5. Okay? So in other words, it takes 2 of the short ones to equal the big one. So there's the property that you need to know. Write that down, and you're going to use that on the worksheet today. Here's the worksheet for today. So the front side, you're going to match them up. This looks like an angle bisector. This looks like a altitude. And the reason why I say it's an altitude is because they don't tell you that these are equal. So I'm going to say altitude. This one right here is a midpoint, so I'm going to say that's a median. It's in the middle. Okay? This one is a perpendicular bisector, so they're kind of tricky. When you get to this bottom part, you have to draw all of them in. And then finally, you go to the back side, and I'm not sure how much of the back side we're going to do today, but it looks like I want to at least get the first 25. So I want the front and all the way to number 25. And it's kind of small, so if you have to, you can enlarge it. Now let's talk about MCR class. On MCR class, you have to factor. Now, when you factor, you have to find the greatest common factor. So watch what I do here. Okay, so here, you're going to go 2s, 3s, 5s, and 7s. So I'm going to go 2 times 4, 2 times 2, and then xy. Just like that. This one's going to be 2 times 2x and yy because I have 2 y's. Now, what do they have in common? Now, this is work. If I don't see this, then you're not going to get credit. This and this are in common. Take it out. This and this are in common. Take it out. This x and that x are in common. Take it out. One of these y's, take it out. So that's going to be 4. xy is called your greatest common factor. And then finally, what's left here is a 2. There's a plus sign. And then what's left here is a y, and you're done. And you can check it. This times this should be that. And this times this should be that. And it is. All right, the next one works the same way. So I'm not going to do it to save a little time here, okay? On a new sheet of paper, copy down these. All right, now listen carefully. You see how this looks like this? But they're not exactly the same. In other words, this Q is a positive. And this Q is a negative. This 8 is a negative, and this 8 is a positive. These are called opposites. So what I'm trying to say here is they might look the same, but they're not the same. So in order to make them the same, you factor out a negative. So write that down. Factor out a negative. And when you do that, you're going to end up with a negative 2p. And then this is going to change to a negative q and a plus 8. Now this one over here doesn't change. And so this is now the same. You see, it's a positive 8 and it's a negative q. So now this is the same as this. So I'm going to take one of those out and get 8 minus q. And when I take that out, I'm left with negative 2p plus 5w. Now, there's something else we can do here, and listen carefully. They don't like the first one being a negative, so I'm going to switch these. So I'm going to say 8 minus q, and then I'm going to say 5w minus 2p. And I think that's better. And you can do that as long as you don't change the signs. So that's a little different. If you get stuck on that, let me know. This one right here, m plus 10 is the same thing as 10 plus m. See, if it's pluses, it doesn't matter. So you're going to take out an m plus 10, and you're left with bc minus 5. And then you're done. All right, this one right here, the first one is a negative. So there's a couple of ways you can get around that. You can just switch these and put 4xy squared minus 8xy. That might be the best way to do it, and then work it the same way. Okay? All right, that's it. Your assignment for today. I want all of this first page, and I don't want to hear any complaining, okay? So get started immediately. And once you're done, I want you to start on the back side. Now, I'm not sure how many of the back I want you to do, but I might tell you in class. All right, have a good morning, and I'll see you there.